Before we get started, I'm not a Dark Souls veteran, nor is this a beginner's guide to Dark Souls. This video will focus primarily on setting expectations and hopefully convincing some people to give this great series a shot. I'm going to talk about what defines a Souls-like game, why people make their experience harder than it needs to be, a real reason not to start Souls, and why I think you should start at the end.
When the link of fire is threatened, the bell tolls, unearthing the old lords of cinder from their graves.
If you know only one thing about Dark Souls, it's probably that the game is known for being difficult. And that's fair, but there are other elements that make a Souls-like game a Souls-like game. The first one would be the bonfire system. You're looking at a missile from Konami's Code Vein, which is this game's version of the bonfire. And just like a Soulsborne game, this operates as a checkpoint. There isn't a quick save feature, so character and in-game progress are only accomplished by making it to another bonfire or returning to a previous one. There is a risk and reward for using these. Resting at a bonfire will fully restore your character health and refill the in-game consumable flask system, which is Estus in the Soul series, and these allow you to regain health and mana. However, resting at the bonfires also restores all enemies in-game, minus bosses that you've defeated. Another major component is the retrieval system. When you die, you'll drop all of your souls. And souls are not only used as in-game currency for purchasing items and upgrading your equipment, they also are used as experience points to level up your character. You have a chance to reclaim your lost souls, but if you die during the course of this, they're gone for good. And the last part, which is less exclusive, is having to manage your stamina. Rolling, blocking, and attacking reduce your stamina, and they reduce it fast enough to where every encounter needs to be calculated. Staying in to deliver one more blow may be what prevents you from rolling away. Learning to balance your stamina is the hardest curve for new players, in my opinion. So without a quick save, a chance to lose all your souls, monitoring your stamina, all stacked with enemies that can one-shot you, how is it even possible for a player to make it even harder on themselves? Simply put, you're supposed to die in Dark Souls. Not understanding that and not embracing that as part of the makeup of the game is setting yourself up for a miserable and frustrating experience. And I feel like that's where most Souls-like games miss the mark. A lot of the time it feels like it's just being difficult for the sake of being difficult. In Dark Souls, the whole theme and feel of the game is that the odds are against you, and you're not a godlike character that has all these advantages. You're supposed to feel vulnerable, and with this, every time you make it to a new area, or defeat a boss, feels like an accomplishment. That feeling that you get from finishing a full game is a feeling you'll have multiple times throughout the course of a Dark Souls title. This is the real reason that people love the series, not because it's hard, but because of the euphoric moments that you'll experience. With that being said, there is one really good reason not to try your hand in these games, and that's time. Not because the games are extremely long necessarily, but the game molds you during the course. If you're not able to set time apart consistently or in a big enough block, you'll probably struggle to make progress in chunks or even at all. One of the major parts about dying over and over again is that you'll have routes, enemy patterns, and other obstacles beaten violently into your brain. If there's one thing worse than my patience, it's my memory. And even with those shortcomings, I was able to work my way through because I made sure I was going to be able to sit and play for a long enough period of time to where I would at least make a little progress in the game. I'm not saying it isn't possible, but if you're a person who struggles to find time to sit down and game, the odds of you having a positive experience in Dark Souls are tilted against you. So now to the main course of the video. This is why I think you should start at the end. And by the end, I mean the third in the series. Now, Souls veterans might disagree with this, and it certainly seems weird to start Dark Souls at the end, but hear me out on some of these points. First, let me get the story part out of the way, as that would probably seem to be a very good reason not to start from the third. But the story is told in a very untraditional way. It also has a kind of a historical loop that's reoccurring. Certain inventory, NPC interactions, and boss dialogues paint a very dim and mysterious picture about what you're doing. And there is a deep lore to the game, but I had to watch other YouTube channels to really help me connect the dots. And even those videos, there's still a lot of presuming because of the murky manner and how the story unfolds. You feel alone for the most part, and it kind of tells a story just through the gameplay and general theme of the campaign. So no, I don't think it's necessary to start from Demon's Souls or Dark Souls. The next part is the linear world of Dark Souls 3. Now this sounds like a knock, and it is a little bit, but it does make for an easier experience for a new player. Here I'm playing some Dark Souls Remastered. You'll spend a large part of your game at this bonfire, which acts as a sort of central hub. The design of OG Dark Souls is pretty genius when you look at the world, but it kind of drops you in on your head, and you're off in whatever direction you feel like going. That's awesome, but it is also difficult. The bonfires in Dark Souls don't start off with fast travel between them, so making your way from place to place requires a lot of exploration and finding shortcuts. Now back to Dark Souls 3, most of the game is pretty straightforward in which part you're going to next, meaning for most of the game you're going in the right direction as far as where your character is in progression. It doesn't mean the sections are linear, you still have to navigate through difficult dungeons. I'm just saying the order that you're doing these dungeons is set up in a less of a head-scratching manner, making sure that you're not wondering if you're supposed to be here or not. Having a mostly set order in which the game is played seems to also impact how they scale the difficulty. All the bonfires in Dark Souls 3 also immediately have fast travel after you're done with the tutorial, which makes life easier. After that, it's the smoothness and graphics of the gameplay. I'm not coming from an easier on the eyes approach. It is a gorgeous game though. I more so mean it's a little easier to see how the game mechanics work. I found myself performing backstabs and rolls much better than my first OG Dark Souls experience. The smoother feel really helps you see how the animations and collision system works. And when I went back to Remastered from Dark Souls 3, I was so much more comfortable in combat because I had a better understanding of the game as a whole. It might sound like a small piece, but it really did help me at becoming a better player. The last reason is the active community. Now, the community is still kicking on all the titles, but Dark Souls 3 seems to be the most bustling. I'm sure you've seen Get Good thrown around in regards to Dark Souls, but it's more of a joke than anything. In my experience, the Souls community is the least toxic I've witnessed in gaming. People are not only quick to help you with advice and tips, but also quick to join you cooperatively to get you off a spot that might have been a breaking point for you. That's not to say some naked asshat with a giant club won't try to invade you when you do play online, but from what I've seen, the Souls community wants new players to succeed in this game because they want people to get the experience of how great these games really are. Outside of directly asking for help from active players, you can also find really helpful YouTube videos for anything you might be stuck on. My personal recommendation would be Fighting Cowboy, who does all the Soulsborne and Souls-like games. I'll link his channel in the description of this video. And that's why I think if you're thinking about entering into the Dark Souls world, Dark Souls 3 is a great place to start. I got inebriated one night and I bought it with all the DLC for only $20 because Konami does a ton of digital sales. I'm glad I did because not only is it one of my favorite games of this generation, it's one of my favorite games ever. It was enough to get me to go into the From Software library and get Dark Souls Remastered again, Dark Souls 2, Bloodborne, Sekiro, and with Demon's Souls Remake and Elden Ring on the horizon, I think it's a great time to jump into these games. I hope you enjoyed. Make sure to like and subscribe if you want to see more content. The next video I'm going to be working on is the psychological breakdown of why we grind in video games.